but we began the show where we have been and found ourselves quite a bit for the past few weeks, and that is with the continued fallout surrounding Deshaun Watson. And I will tell you, this is maybe because I'm a lawyer, I have been more aware of how significant the peril that Deshaun Watson is facing than probably anybody else in sports media. And we have seen star quarterbacks face legal issues before, whether it's Ben Roethlisberger with sexual assault allegations, whether it is Michael Vick with the dog fighting, whether it's Jameis Winston with sexual assault allegations. We have never seen the scope and substance of allegations of a sexual assault like we have seen against Deshaun Watson. 22 different women have filed lawsuits, and now women are starting to come forward and tell their stories publicly with their own names out there. And that seems, this happened, I guess it was on Tuesday, that Tony Busby had a press conference and the first women went public with their own stories and their own names, and they told their stories. And since then, things are getting worse for Deshaun Watson in a hurry. And you can start to see how things are getting worse in a hurry. Nike has suspended their relationship, endorsement relationship with Deshaun Watson. We also have Beats by Dre, which is now owned by Apple, making the decision that they will no longer allow Deshaun Watson to be an endorser with them. And H-E-B, a big sort of beloved institution in Texas that everybody interacts with, was said publicly that their endorsement deal with Deshaun Watson ended at the end of 2020, and they would not be beginning it anew. And so as all of these major corporations are turning away from Deshaun Watson, the same thing is happening with the Houston Texans, who put out a statement a couple of days ago saying that they were appalled basically by the allegations that have been levied against Deshaun Watson. And I am now putting my lawyer hat on for you. And I always say, and this is one of the challenging things that people have to learn about the legal process, people want you to say, hey, what's going to happen? And I always say that lawyers can't predict exactly what's going to happen, but we can give you a range of potential outcomes. And the better the lawyer, the better the ability to tell you the range of potential outcomes, what it's likely to be. And that's why I always encourage people to think probabilistically as opposed to definitively, because it's hard to know. And 2020, God knows, should have taught us all this. It's hard to know exactly what's going to happen, which is why it's smart to keep a range of potential outcomes in mind. And what I would tell you is everything is continuing to get worse for Deshaun Watson pretty much every single day. Because if you go back to when this allegation first went public from this first woman, Deshaun Watson put out a statement, said, hey, they wanted to settle with us. They wanted like $100,000. In fact, Rusty Hardin has shared the email correspondence over that first allegation, and in an effort to, I think, diminish the severity of the allegations. That is a failure to me, because when the first negotiation was going on in this case, there was not a recognition of how many other women were going to come forward and tell the same story. And if you want to consider this to have been a massive miscalculation, the initial massive miscalculation happened by Deshaun Watson, his agent, his lawyers, and his representatives. Because if they had paid this woman $100,000, her allegation would have never gone public, and all these other women wouldn't have seen necessarily the media coverage of that allegation and also reached out to decide to come forward and tell their story. So there is a large degree of arrogance on behalf of Deshaun Watson, who could have cut a check for $100,000, ensured that this story never went public, and many of the other women may have also never gone public because that first allegation made many of these massage therapists realize, oh, it's not just me, I'm not alone. And that's why you've seen the continued number of lawsuits that have built and built and built that have conspired to create not only a threat to Deshaun Watson's 2021 season, but as there is a criminal investigation now underway, it's possible that Deshaun Watson could spend years in prison. He could be, on the probabilistic scale, worst case scenario, he could be the NFL's version of Jeffrey Epstein or Bill Cosby. He could be a sexual predator who will spend years in prison and his entire NFL career could be over. That is a reasonable and realistic possibility from the legal travails that he is facing right now. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm saying it's reasonable and possible if you look at the scope of potential outcomes. This many women accusing you of this many things is potentially putting Deshaun Watson in the Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Cosby scenario. Both of those men went to prison. Epstein allegedly killed himself. Bill Cosby in prison for years. That is what Deshaun Watson could be facing. Best case scenario for Deshaun Watson continues to get worse and worse. To me, Deshaun Watson, if I were his legal representation right now, I would say, man, we got to settle this case and we got to settle it right now. And it may cost you $25 million. I don't even know what the number is right now to settle this case. But you got to cut a check, and all of this you have to pay for, and you have to apologize for your behavior. You come out and you say you don't believe that you committed any crimes, but you now understand that your behavior made many women uncomfortable. You are going to reconsider all of your decisions going forward. You're going to apologize to these women, and you are going to ask for forgiveness from the American sports fan public as you attempt to become a better person. That's what I would tell Deshaun Watson right now. Cut the check for $25 million. Put every one of these lawsuits behind you. Hope that there are no criminal charges being brought, and serve your probably potentially season-long suspension. I don't know what it's going to be. And then maybe somebody's going to be willing to trade for you and let you start anew in a new city. And I would also tell him, never for the rest of your life ever get a massage from any woman ever again. Ever. Never do it, Deshaun Watson. Change your ways. End any possibility of ever getting a massage for the rest of your life. Pay tens of millions of dollars. Apologize to these women. Say that you don't believe you committed a crime, but you understand that you made them uncomfortable, and you might be able to come back and play in 2022. You might avoid becoming Bill Cosby or Jeffrey Epstein. But that's assuming these women want to settle now. Because the problem that Deshaun Watson has is he and his representatives basically called all these women liars. And I bet there are some of them that are not as interested in money now as they are in justice. And so that is a challenge. I believe that the future of Deshaun Watson in the NFL as a quarterback is in significant peril. And it's not crazy to believe that his career, at least for the next several years, could be over. Now, Mike Vick came back after he served time in federal prison for dogfighting. Maybe the same thing's going to have to happen with Deshaun Watson. He may get another chance to be a quarterback after going to prison. We'll have to wait and see. But I think things are deteriorating in a rapid fashion for Deshaun Watson. Nike, Beats by Dre, H-E-B, all of those big companies deciding suddenly that they can't be connected with him, I believe, is a further sign of how much things are getting worse for him now that women are going public and telling their side of the story. All right.